Well, I'm having to file paperwork and stuff like that, go to court. It's pretty messed up that somebody would be blocked to such a degree. Um, I've been even sending PayPal messages. Um, somebody even go to that extent to block PayPal messages coming from me. Every time I sent money to Palm B, there was a message that went along with it. Of course, I'm like documenting my end, but it's pretty messed up. That she's been blocked from the beginning, and that my own religion would be used against me like that. I made a post of a dream I had where I believe I saw the face of the real Jesus Christ, the original one, and he had a similar, like, cheekbone location or whatever. He didn't exactly look like Screech, but they did look like they could be related. And when I shared that, somebody must have, really not taken me seriously, and it was used against me. It's very evil to do such a thing. I was being genuine and sincere, and this started at the same time that the company One True King started. One True King, and when I was foolish enough to share what I was working on and what I was doing, and I let Facebook know what what Palm B was doing. That was supposed to be impossible to witness. It was very magical, something she deserved to know. And I was blocked from being able to connect with her unless it was like certain messages that would, I'm guessing it was only what made me look bad, and stuff that would help me would be blocked. So Facebook and Instagram and all of that stuff, a person's capable of reading a message or not. That's pretty messed up. That I actually have a comment on Instagram that the people can't read, except for me. Just me and somebody else that's trying to chase a list that somebody made. So I witnessed my work was doing the Sean Davis, who was a he was a server engineer, was the one who did it with me. But he was, he went to a different kind of AA or whatever, where it's like a reverse psychology AA that scares you straight or something. And it looked like it was fun to do. And I was checking out new goth music. I checked out Death in June. I actually was told that they weren't racist. I didn't even know. And it's embarrassing how long it took me to figure that out. But I didn't really watch the news or know about history. I avoided that subject my whole life. I didn't even know about Irish and the English being, having a feud or whatever until my last girlfriend told me about it. That was recently. I didn't even know my whole life, because I had a goal of being a writer, and I was always working on my stories. And so that's all I cared about, was having the freshest perspective that didn't have an outside influence. And just staying safe, just staying with the people I know, and staying safe, and going where it's safe. Anyways, so I was going in on Wednesdays. I was going in to work on Adderall on Wednesdays because I was afraid of getting laid off. And it was really helpful. I guess not in the end, huh? But I thought at the time it was very helpful to have that extra kick or whatever on Wednesdays when my boss came in. I wanted to be perfect, and people were being laid off constantly. I was having to go through people's stuff, like separate their work stuff from not work stuff, like that was left on their computer when they were laid off or whatever. It was pretty sad. And so my boss did the same thing to me that he did to Sean Davis, which was reverse psychology AA meeting. And I guess they asked for my dad's help, and he was in a Saved by the Bell episode where they give Zach Morris what he wants and it teaches him a lesson. So it seemed like they kind of stuck to that theme because of the things that he would call me up screaming, saying crazy things. Like, they're trying to kill our family. And then he'd call up and be like, I was up all night and drove through a blizzard and all this stuff. But I mean, it was stuff from the Saved by the Bell episode, kind of, because of the, it took me a while to figure it out. But, yeah, it was definitely scary. It was too scary. They definitely should have, obviously they should have let somebody know that worked for Facebook or something, because somebody made a mistake. Because that's what I'm guessing. Because what happened was, people were having too much fun with that, pretending to be Nazis or whatever. When they did this to me, the coffee was different, right? And it was like, and later they were saying it was cat poop coffee. It was weird. I was like, what the hell? They put Coke in this or something? What is that? and they had this scary mafia guy, looking guy with all these gold chains and stuff at the meeting, and everybody took turns. They were saying, are you sure you want my help? Are you sure you want... He had them all say yes, and he asked, are you sure you want my help getting you clean off of alcohol and drugs? And everybody said yes, and then of course I did too. And then, before this all started, somebody told me, this is going to piss you off, but it does work. But yeah, so after that, when I would go get a cigarette or a drink or something, the next color I'd come across would be carried to a saw, the sound of a saw and a person screaming or something like that. And then somebody'd be like, well, at least it isn't you. And there'd be a black guy with metal shin glaring at me or something. So they pretty much forced me to quit, because I had, because I'd be proving that I'm the biggest addict in the world if I, but it was obviously fake. It was obviously just a show. But my dad put on quite a performance. that definitely scared me, because it was because of what my dad did that scared me. He's an actor though. But anyways, yeah, so I should have told my girlfriend about it. I really should have told my girlfriend about it, because she didn't know that I went to this AA meeting, that they did all that. She probably thought that something else was going on. They really should have told my girlfriend. And so the Macintosh operating system, High Sierra, came out because of her. Her name's Sierra, and the start of the new Mayan calendar was 2016, when the Macintosh operating system was called High Sierra. So I was guessing that they knew. But anyway, somebody obviously messed up, because when I was using Facebook, I complained. I made a post about Charles Manson. That was it was like a complaint, like concern about, it was like complaints about, you know, about like a prison being around the mountain from where I grew up and stuff like that, and how a person in prison could have a lot more, I don't know, how they could be kiting and stuff like that and actually influencing people outside of the prison more than people realize. And, you know, it was not really, it's just a post, a Facebook post, you know, it wasn't a big deal. But it was a big deal apparently, because he died, and then there was a Facebook feed showing a cop with handcuffs smiling. A goth girl with handcuffs smiling, as if she was like a part of some network or something, and somebody was like, "You're not fooling me. You're a Nazi or something." I don't know, but I mean, so I was so stressed out from everything. I didn't know who I didn't tell people. Besides, like on the phone or on the computer, I was too scared. Because I didn't know who was involved, who could have been whatever, and so what else was I to do? So the only thing to rely upon is just checking on, you know, just checking on people on, you know, like Christmas or something. What else am I supposed to do? And so, anyways, and so I've been basically illegally cut off, really messed up thing to do. And, you know, I deserve to be seen. When I first got so I was blocked on the other side of websites and stuff like that in such an unfair way. Like when I'd use a dating website or something like that, it'd only be like a Nazi girl or something, or an illegal girl. And then when I go out with her, this girl showed me how she had like 600 messages or something with all these different guys that messaged her. And I was the only one she clicked on. I was like one of the only ones she clicked on. But you could actually see that it was very obvious that my picture looked like one of the best ones, you know? Like I had a really good picture. Of course she's going to click on it, you know? But something was definitely off. Something was very wrong. Every time I used those sites, something was going on more. And, you know, and so it seemed like somebody was trying to get me to be a Nazi so he would somehow be justified doing such a thing. Like, there's really a list out there going through people. Anyways, when I shared the value of what I was working on the most of my life, the most important thing to me was this game I made called Omniverse for Amber Entertainment. That was Adam Mead and Ben Redinger. Our names together was Amber. And then right after I shared that online on the Facebook, somebody broke into my car and took it. That was absolutely devastating, because like every single piece of paper that I had took like 40 hours, 100 hours, some of them. Ridiculous amount of work. All lost. So that was absolutely devastating. And so ever since I first tried to contact this girl, Palm B, she was it's human trafficking. It's like rape, because she wouldn't have done it. She wouldn't have been with those people if she knew what was going on. It's absolutely evil, because they layered everything, and they only allowed her to see what made me look bad. That's really messed up. That's really messed up to do. I mean, from the beginning, I wasn't able to look her up. Maybe I wouldn't have even wanted her if I was able to look her up. That's really messed up. There was this girl right before that happened in Utah. She was probably the most beautiful one or whatever, one of them at the dance club or whatever. And it was very obvious that the internet and phone networked me away from her because they knew that she wanted me. And right when she became single, it happened. It was very obviously done by hackers, Mormons, something like that. So, thank goodness for the law, and obviously I should have done something a long time ago. I should have done something more a long time ago. But can you imagine your own religion being used against you like that? I mean, I really gave these people too much power. What a messed up thing to do to me. So, I'm surprised that the synchronicity would do such a thing, that, comparing me to the Justice League, Superman and Batman and all that stuff. I guess I'm not surprised, though, because I am just, and I am probably the most honest person you may find. So, last year, I should have done a lot more when I was here in Portland. I should have made sure that, dozens of people were contacting her or whatever. But every time I used my phone and computer, somebody was watching me, doing something to distract me, and basically used her to do this. Basically paid her to make it look like, hey look, like she was basically paid to help somebody try to kill me and loot my stuff without even knowing it. I did something like I was to prove that she was doing what she was doing while I was having romantic dreams of her or whatever. Somebody was so jealous, he just had to mess it up, and he had to prove that she wasn't doing it by paying her to do messed up stuff. Like, I prayed for orange and brown, the colors she selected or whatever, to be in the next thing that she posted in the bottom right, orange and brown. And then somebody had to turn that into some psychotic racist thing. And the next thing she posted, it was she was wearing an 88 shirt, which meant tied the knot. And on my side, it was a very beautiful spiritual experience, because I'm connecting to her soul that knows everything and has basically been scared and forced into what she's doing. I have a tremendous amount of ambition, a lot more than other people. And it's still possible to get absolutely more than everything I've wanted. More. And I should make a lot of money just starting out with small claims and just, being my own lawyer and taking all these places to court for what they did to me. But while I'm doing that, I need to be waking people up and preparing for the real case. It's so sick. Every time I went to Facebook jail, I was actually innocent. And it was a completely hate crime, racist thing against me. I don't have the time to comb through my stuff. I have a right to listen to Bob Marley without supporting weed. I have a right to listen to gangster music without having to wear colors and flash gang signs. That's my right. It's so disgusting that somebody would do that to me. None of the Jews would have helped him. Of course. Only disgusting, sick, whatever. I mean, who's that sick? You know? Look for somebody to kill him and take his stuff in the real world. That's pretty gross. Anyways, so here's my, I'm reading this book here. It's Synchronized. War of the Twins. Funny how they made this guy's face, my brother, Caramon. He looks similar to Sean O'Siren. As if I could possibly call that guy my brother. Or even a neighbor. I could barely even call him a neighbor. He's like been at the same places and stuff as me. But he like wears a Nazi uniform. He wears a Nazi uniform and goes out and stuff. But anyways, I just you know, I run into him at dancing and stuff like that. He'd have parties and stuff at his house. I go there. And he was nice and respectful to everybody, as far as I could tell, you know. But you know, he believed in what he believed in or whatever. But I mean, I haven't really been interested in looking into that. I just assume common sense logic. Hello, I'm American. I'm related to people that killed Nazis, or neighbors to them at least. I'm not related to them. My family didn't kill Nazis, but you know what I mean? Like, what do you expect me to do? Of course I'm going to understand, you know, somebody doing what they're doing. But, you know, what is he doing? Is he just admiring something and then has his belief thing somewhere, like, you know? I mean, how could somebody see that that's so off? Somebody loses their father or something and then puts on his uniform and goes, cool, you know? I mean, who the hell wouldn't understand that? But are they picking up his weapon too? Or is he just writing a song and letting it go? Because, I mean, expressing things is a way of letting it go. But I mean, that's pretty psychotic to think that there's... Comparing my brother to Sean O'Siren. That guy was totally weird with me. He wasn't exactly friendly. But, that kind of looks like him, though. That's what he... Anyways. So... The Guardian slid away from Raistlin, staring at him with hollow eyes. Too weak to move, the mage stared back, his own eyes reflecting the darkness. So, the Guardians of the Tower have represented somebody like people trying to cover up what I'm sharing or what's happened to me or whatever. I tell you this, he spoke to them without a voice, and was understood. Touch me again, and I will turn you to dust, as I did him. That part I'm kind of confused about. Why would it say that? You might think I'm crazy for comparing this to me, but if you look into my channel, Adam Mark Gaming, you'll see how the Dragonlance synchronicity fits. That is, if I have my right. Did all those people die for nothing? I mean, if somebody has a concern, you should let me know. So, yes, Master, the voices whispered as their pale visages faded back into the shadows. What? Murmured Chrysania sleepily. Did you say something? Realizing she had been sleeping with her head upon his shoulder, she flushed in confusion and embarrassment and hurriedly sat up. Can I get you anything? She asked. Hot water. Raistlin lay back limply. For my potion. Chrysania glanced around, brushing her dark hair out of her eyes. So that would represent not seeing marriage because of the air element being in the hair. Gray light, great light. The light has represented truth or the people that know. Great light seeped through the windows. That would represent people that are married already. Thin and wispy as a ghost, it brought no comfort. The staff of Magius, that has represented my website, because the staff of Mishakal, my friend that's Native American, he would be Riverwind. He was rushing into getting married to my sister, who would be Goldmoon. And the staff of Mishakal would represent Facebook. It's really funny how accurate all that is. The dragon almost killed him by breathing acid on him. And he was saved by the staff of Mishakal. That really doesn't surprise me. But how scary and sad to think that, you know, he could have went through something like that. But they ended up breaking that staff, and she ended up finding this discs of Mishakal instead. They no longer needed the staff. The discs of Mishakal have represented, because when I made my song Perk Up Those Kitty Ears, we were working on making healing meditation discs. And so that would be where the discs of Mishakal come from. And so the ruins of Zach Saroth kind of represent to our subconscious mind, to their subconscious mind, as authors going to Wyoming and getting a keg for the party or whatever, the adventure. And for people living in Utah, the adventure a lot of the time starts in Wyoming. Starts from getting a keg in Wyoming. So, by no surprise, the companions, you know, they're supposed to go to heaven, but they're in Solace's like Utah area, and they're distracted by the Draconians. The people are looking for the staff of Mishakal. The staff, they're like frantically looking for it. And who's looking for it? The illegals. And so that would be why I deleted my Facebook account. I was afraid that people were taking advantage of it. I wasn't sure, you know. like how safe it was. Because I mean, what is this one true king? What does it come from? What is that? Obviously, hasn't been good for me, because I would have been helped more. Obviously, it came from racial self-loathing hatred that I wasn't even a part of. What else am I supposed to think? I mean, I would never ask for something that dramatic, you know. But anyways, so yes, masters, blah 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 blah. The staff of Magius cast its light still, keeping away the dark things of the night, but it shed no warmth. That means money, making money. Chrysania rubbed her aching neck. Rubbed her aching neck. She's totally... all she wants... people just need to know what's going on with me. And we're both totally safe and fine. On the phones and computers. Outside of just letters. And passing around and doing all that, you know, Pink Floyd nonsense. So, she was stiff and sore, as she knew she must have been asleep for hours. The room was still freezing cold. Bleakly, she looked over at the cold and blackened fire grate. "There's wood," she faltered, her gaze going to the broken furniture laying about. "But I have no tinder or flint. I can't." "Wake my brother," snarled Raistlin, and immediately began to gasp for breath. So that gasping for breath would represent like finding a mate or whatever, finding because of air and that has represented. He tried to say something further. So it's like getting his brother's help to connect with somebody. He tried to say something further, but he could do no more than gesture feebly. His eyes glittered with such anger, and his face was twisted with such rage that Chrysania stared at him in alarm, feeling a chill that was colder than the air around her. Interesting. So it's saying feeling a chill that was colder than the air around her. Raistlin closed his eyes wearily, and his hand went to his chest. "Please," he whispered in agony. "The pain." Interesting. So it's like suggesting that there's somebody else, and she sees me, or she sees Raistlin as poorer or having less. That seems ridiculously unlikely once we start working. We have the right to connect with people. Who would turn us down to have the pre-death funerals and stuff like that? It should be really successful. It should be very successful. So Raistlin closed his eyes wearily, and his hand went to his chest. Please, he whispered in agony. The pain. Of course, Ksenia said gently. I actually need some food right now. I wouldn't describe it as pain, but it's noticeable when I haven't eaten. So, here's some treats. I've been torn up of, should I spend my money in letting all of Portland know? Or should I spend my money in, getting a nice, cozy place to live right now? I should let the people know, of course, because they'll help me. I need to go to court. How frustrating that something like this could happen to me. Because to my face, everybody's been nice. Completely nice to me, always, everywhere. Everywhere. I mean, even on Facebook, if they were messed up to me, they did it somewhere where I didn't really witness it. And the people that did that, were they hacked? Did they even know what was going on? Was it something to make sure that politics failed in some direction? How ridiculous. That is so evil. I'm worth more than a political card. Anyways, so leaning forward. So, of course, Ksenia said gently, overwhelmed with shame. What would it be like to live with such pain? Day after day. Leaning forward, she drew the curtain from her own shoulders and tucked it carefully around Raistlin. The mage nodded, thankfully, but could not speak. Then, shivering, Ksenia crossed the room to where Caramon lay. Putting her hand out to touch his shoulder, she hesitated. What if he's still blind? She thought. Or what if he can see and decides to kill Raistlin? But her hesitation lasted only a moment. Resolutely, she put her hand on his shoulder and shook him. So, Caramon was upset because while he was stuck in the games, he was set up to win. It's very similar to real life and my brother being on the video game. People perhaps funding him or surrounding people to let him win in the video game so he doesn't help me more. And then Raistlin set him up to have to face his friends in the video game as enemies. Well, that's possibly because the people he was playing with were getting paid to get him to go a certain direction or not help out his brother. Very weird. So that's funny. What would it be like Anyways, so leaning forward, she drew the curtain from blah, 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 blah. But her hesitation lasted only a moment. Resolutely, she put her hand on his shoulder and shook him. If he does, she said to herself grimly, I will stop him. I did once, I can do it again. Even as she touched him, she was aware of the pale guardians, lurking in the shadows, watching her every move. Those are the people that want her to be gone, to everything that she's shared has never existed. Caramon, she called softly. Caramon, wake up. Please, we need. What? Caramon sat up quickly, his hand going reflexively to his sword hilt. That wasn't there. His sword hilt that wasn't there. His eyes focused on Chrysania. So, we need what? And then he sat up quickly, his hand going reflexively to a sword hilt that wasn't there. His eyes focused on Chrysania, and she saw with relief, tinged with fear, that he could see her. He stared at her blankly, however, without recognition, and then looked quickly around his surroundings. Then Chrysania saw remembrance in the darkening of his eyes, saw them fill with a haunted pain. She saw remembrance in the clenching of his jaw muscles and the cold gaze he turned upon her. Praying to my brothers be safe, myself and her. She saw remembrance in the clenching of his jaw muscles and the cold gaze he turned upon her. So that's connecting to his history of drug abuse and what he used to do when he had like kind of acid flashbacks or whatever. It seems to connect to that. She was about to say something, apologize, explain, rebuke, when his eyes grew suddenly tender as his face softened with concern. Lady Chrysania, he said, sitting up and dragging the curtain from his body. You're freezing. Here, put this around you. So, freezing has represented being poor or going without money, and the curtain has represented doing pre-death funerals on my website. So he's telling her that he should, make money through my website. Before she could say a word in protest, I'll try to put a button on it tomorrow for a starting thing to get paid or whatever. For buying a meeting or whatever to plan the event. Before she could say a word in protest, Caramon wrapped the curtain around her snugly. She noticed as he did so that he looked once at his twin, but his gaze passed quickly over Aislinn, as if he did not exist. So the twins, it seems that the reason that they made them twins is to remind me not to pretend that we were perfect and that we messed up as children like everybody did. That's kind of important because people actually are capable of hurting themselves. If So the twins thing is like, so I'm not like thinking I'm better than other people or the neighbors and stuff like that. Because they could have had twins or something. And then there was like, something really embarrassing. Maybe it's a boy and a girl. Who cares? But anyways. Crysania caught hold of his arm. Caramon, she said. He saved our lives. He cast a spell. A spell has represented putting the negative in the past tense. Those things out there in the darkness leave us alone because he told them to. Because they recognize one of their own, Caramon said harshly, lowering his gaze and trying to withdraw his arm from her grasp. But Crysania held him fast, more with her eyes than her cold hand. Interesting how it changes the identity of these guardians or whatever. How before, like, it's completely become something else. Because of sharing on Twitch or whatever. That's interesting. It suddenly becomes like people in other countries. Like, what the heck? Those things out there in the darkness leave us alone because he told them to. Because they recognize one of their own. Okay, so isn't it? Hopefully, people have caught up to, how the clocks of humanity have been trying to help me, and with my work and everything. Hopefully that's, valued. Hopefully that's enough to, make it so somebody stops doing something like setting me up against somebody else. Because it feels like that's been such a common thing, Like, ever since I witnessed what I witnessed on Facebook, with the Charles Manson thing. It seems like somebody's been trying to set me up to fail, or setting up other people to fail to try to fix their mess. That's messed up to do. And it's not like something a person can exactly do without the echo being there. So hopefully, people are thankful that nothing has happened. I'm still alive. And, I'm on the path of making amends and stuff. And how many times do we keep, thinking people are going to wake up and say, "You're right, I'm sorry. There was actually trash there where I was thinking. I was wrong. I'll make amends. I'll, have benefit of the doubt," or whatever. So, "You can kill him now," she said angrily. "Look, he's helpless, weak." "Of course. If you do, we'll all die. But you were prepared to do that anyways, weren't you?" "I can't kill him," Caramon said. His brown eyes were clear and cold. And Crysania, once again, saw a startling resemblance between the twins. "Let's face it, Reverend Daughter. If I tried, you'd only blind me again." Caramon brushed her hand from his arm. "One of us, at least, should see clearly," he said. Crysania felt herself flush in shame and anger, hearing Laurelon's words echo in the warrior's sarcasm. Turning away from her, Caramon stood up quickly. They should both see clearly. They should both help Raceland with the curtains. "I'll build a fire," he said in a cold, hard voice. "If those," he waved a hand, "friends of my brother's out there will let me." "I believe they will," Chrysania said, speaking with equal coolness as she, too, rose to her feet. "They did not hinder me when I tore down the curtains." She could not help a quiver creeping into her voice at the memory of being trapped by those shadows of death. So right there, it seems to be saying that she's being forced to deny that I've existed. Or that she's wanted me. Caramon glanced around at her, and for the first time, it occurred to Chrysania what she must look like. Wrapped in a rotting black velvet curtain, her white robes torn and stained with blood, black with dust and ash from the floor. So that kind of means what she must look like. It's saying, it's reminding her, so wrapped in a rotting black velvet curtain would be the only pre-death funeral she's been doing has been mine. And then, and it's not a pre-death funeral. And then her white robes torn and stained with blood, being monogamy, and how it has hurt me. And maybe her too. Black with dust and ash from the floor. Black has meant back or Polly or whatever from our dreams. Before I came across her pictures, I had romantic dreams of her. And even the street names were about what the dreams were about when I came across her for the first time in San Rafael. It was a miracle. And I was, forced to be living out of my car. And it was awful. Well, I guess I wasn't really forced. I had a mission I wanted to find my largest echo, and I was going to go tour. I was touring the country until my largest echo or whatever, or the person that wanted to test things asked me to stay in that area, or asked me to stay and get a place to live or whatever. So I was on my hunt for the refrigerator. And so it's a very romantic story because when I posted pictures, my ex-girlfriend, when she put on a white dress, we went to Rasputina concert. They changed the lyrics from life to wife. And before we went, I took pictures of myself and acted really crazy. I put a purple dot on my forehead, and I was praying to a red robe to get her off of me. When I first moved in with her, because there was another woman coming to our bed, and I kept waking her up every night telling her about another person, or the sex dream I had. But now I believe that one woman was my future wife, and it's pretty obvious to me that it was her, and that she did this because she was upset at my ex-girlfriend for what my ex-girlfriend did. My ex-girlfriend spent a ridiculous amount of time on Facebook trying to make sure that she would cut me off as a stalker, a dangerous stalker, whatever. I had a dream that I was Skywalker, that it was an intimate dream where she was walking, I came up behind her and we made love. It's weird because those are streets too. It's so weird. But but anyways, when I posted those pictures, I was pointing at a picture on a magnet on the refrigerator that had roses in the hair. And I had this target thing on my forehead, and it was purple, which means get off of it. So it was like I was trying to tell myself, don't, there was somebody else out there to get married to. And I was pointing at the refrigerator because it was a girl, from my hunt for who's going to tell me, I have your refrigerator. And right now I have a refrigerator in my storage that has Pink Baby in it from my childhood. And that was my stuffed animal. And after Pink Baby, I had a seal, but those are like echoes of future children or whatever. It's pretty interesting how that actually echoes into our childhood. Everybody is always echoing into their childhood, like who they're going to become or whatever. So it's obvious I'm going to be like a teacher or something like that, I don't do makeup very much, just when I go dancing. But anyways, but yeah, the refrigerator, it's such a beautiful story. Because I shared it at the same time as her. Both of us shared it on the same day. She shared herself with the white dress, showing her knees, and showed the rose on her chest. And she posted that on the same day that I posted those pictures of myself with the target on my head pointing at the magnet on the refrigerator before going to the Rasputina concert with my girlfriend who was in the white dress. So both of them posted it on the same day. But does seem like, I don't know, they're upset with each other. Because when I moved in with her and was with her, the other girl kept coming to our bed in my dreams. And so I prayed to a red robe to get her off, because I wasn't ready yet for her, is what it means. And then she posted herself praying to men in red robes. And so by the time she was ready for me, she was illegally surrounded, as it shows those men in the red robes with handcuffs on them, because it was illegal what they did. It's like human trafficking. It's like, rape to do something like that. Because it would have been prevented. She wouldn't have gone to bed with people if she knew the truth. It's like not telling somebody you had AIDS or something. I guess rape isn't the same thing, but as an older brother, I put that in the same category. Of course, that would be so disrespectful if somebody was doing that to my little sister. Keeping information from them and directing traffic that way. Like something the person obviously needs to know about. To the extent how extreme it is that somebody would actually do that somebody would actually do the one true king or whatever from my Facebook post, this Screech faked his death or whatever, and then I was dumb enough to share and then about what I was doing, and so somebody actually hired her to block her from meeting me. That's what it looks like from everywhere. That's pretty messed up. I deserve to meet her. I think actually I do remember, I think I did have already kissed her a bunch. I totally forgot about it. I was drunk though at Lovecraft. It was when I was living with Elizabeth, I think, and going out, and I I think I just drank too much that night, and for some reason, I couldn't remember her name. But now I'm remembering everything, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that was her. I'm almost sure of it now. Stupid. Because both of us were so, like, dumb. Like, both of us were, like, obeying each other so much it wouldn't go anywhere. Both of us were like, yes, master, yes, master, yes, master, do something. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And so it just kind of, like, guided to, we just started kissing out of nowhere. And then I was like, I need your name. And I kept asking her for a name, and I kept forgetting it. And then I kept asking her for a name. And now that I remember everything, I'm like, oh my gosh, that does fit really well. It's so stupid. How can I be so dumb? But anyways, so Chrysania felt herself flush in shame and anger, hearing Laurelon's words echo in the warrior's sarcasm. Turning away from her, Caramon stood up quickly. So Laurelon was the elf that asked her to leave with the true clerics or whatever before the cataclysm came. The cataclysm is a devastating event. A mountain came from the sky and hit the city so hard, like the whole world terraformed and changed. Caramon brushed her hand from his arm. One of us, at least, should see clearly, he said. Oh, wait, I already read that. Chrysania felt herself flush in shame and anger, hearing Laurelon's words echo in the warrior's sarcasm. Turning away from her, Caramon stood up quickly. I'll build a fire, he said, in a cold, hard voice. If those, he waved a hand, friends of my brothers out there will let me. I believe they will, Chrysania said, speaking with equal I believe they will, Chrysania said, hello, speaking with equal coolness as she, too, rose to her feet. They did not hinder me when I tore down the curtains. She could not help a quiver creeping into her voice at the memory of being trapped by those shadows of death. Caramon glanced around at her, and for the first time, it occurred to Chrysania what she must look like. Wrapped in rotting black velvet curtain, I was representing my death, going to my funeral. Her white robes torn and stained with blood, monogamy, and then black with dust and ash from the floor. Oh, I get it. Because Cedar and Beach Street are parallel to Ash Street in San Diego. Involuntarily, her hand went to her hair. Once so smooth, carefully braided and coiled. Now it hung about her face in straggling wisps. She could feel the dried tears upon her cheeks, the dirt, the blood. Self-consciously, she wiped her hand across her face and tried to pat back her hair. Then, realizing how futile and even stupid she must look, and angered still further by Caramon's pitying expression, she drew herself up with shabby dignity. So, I am no longer the marble maiden you first met, she said haughtily. Haughtily. See, I was trying to get her name on Facebook, for Facebook, And I was so mad at myself for forgetting her name. I could not remember her name. But like that night, yeah, she gave me her name like 5 times or something. So stupid. I definitely drank too much. She probably did too. We're probably both shit-faced. I can't believe I didn't even remember that. And then I thought, oh, is this girl here? Her at the thing? Wasn't even sure if that was her. And then when I saw her, it was so romantic that she was at Marina Street, the Sky Bar. That was seriously, wow. For us, wow. Other people, I don't know. Don't believe us. Caramon glanced around at her, and for the first time, okay, yeah, I already read that. Self-consciously, she wiped her hand across her face and tried to pat back her hair. That would mean spouse is returning, or the reward is returning, because of air being the element our ancestors used for marriage. Then, realizing how futile and even stupid she must look, and angered still further by Caramon's pitying expression. What the hell? She drew herself up with shabby dignity. So I am no longer the marble maiden you first met. I already said that. She said haughtily, just as you are no longer the sodden drunk. It seems we have both learned a thing or two on our journey. I know I have, Caramon said gravely. Have you? Crysania retorted. I wonder, did you learn, as I did, that the mages sent me back in time, knowing that I would not return? Caramon stared at her. She smiled grimly. No, you were unaware of that small fact. Or so your brother said. The time device could be used by only one person. The person to whom it was given, you. The mages sent me back in time to die because they feared me. Caramon frowned. He opened his mouth, closed it, then shook his head. You could have left Istar with that elf who came for you. Istar has represented like New York, the stock market going for a star. Like a famous person or something. Would you have gone? Crysania demanded. Would you have given up your life in our time if you could help it? No. Am I so different? Caramon's frown deepened, and he started to reply, but at that moment, Raistlin coughed. Glancing at the mage, Crysania sighed and said, You better build the fire, or we'll all perish anyway. That would mean making money. Turning her back on Caramon, who still stood regarding her silently, she walked over to his brother. Looking at the frail mage, Crysania wondered if he had heard. She wondered if he were even still conscious. He was conscious, but if Raistlin was at all aware of what had passed between the other two, he appeared to be too weak to take any interest in it. Pouring some of the water into a cracked bowl, Crysania knelt down beside him. Tearing a piece from the cleanest portion of her robe, she wiped his face. It burned with fever, even in the chill room. Behind her, she heard Caramon gathering up bits of the broken wooden furniture and stacking it in the crate. I need something for Tinder, the big man muttered to himself. These books. At that, Raistlin's eyes flared open. His head moved, and he tried feebly to rise. Don't, Caramon, Chrysania cried, alarmed. Caramon stopped, a book in his hand. Dangerous, my brother, Raistlin grasped weakly. Spell books, don't touch them. His voice faltered, but the gaze of his glittering eyes was fixed on Caramon with a look of such apparent concern that even Caramon seemed taken aback. Mumbling something unintelligible, the big man dropped the book and began to search about the desk. Chrysania saw Raistlin's eyes close in relief. Looks like letters, Caramon said after a moment of shuffling through paper on the floor. Would these be all right? He asked gruffly. Raistlin nodded wordlessly, and within moments, Chrysania heard the crackling of flame. Oh no. Lacquer finished, the wood of the broken furniture caught quickly, and soon the fire burned with a bright, cheering light. Glancing into the shadows, Chrysania saw the pallid faces withdraw, but they did not leave. We must move Raistlin near the fire, she said, standing up. And he said something about a potion. Yes, Caramon answered, tonelessly. Coming to stand beside Chrysania, he stared down at his brother. Then he shrugged. Let him magic himself over there if that's what he wants. Chrysania's eyes flashed in anger. She turned to Caramon, scathing words on her lips. But at a weak gesture from Raistlin, she bit her lower lip and kept silent. You pick an inopportune time to grow up, my brother, the mage whispered. Maybe, said Caramon slowly, his face filled with unutterable sorrow. Shaking his head, he walked back over to stand by the fire. Maybe it doesn't matter anymore. Chrysania, watching Raistlin's gaze follow his brother, was startled to see him smile a swift, secret smile and nod in satisfaction. Then, as he looked up at her, the smile vanished quickly. Lifting one arm, he motioned her to come near him. I can stand, he breathed. With your help. Here, you'll need your staff, she said, extending her hand for it. Don't touch it, Raistlin ordered, catching hold of her hand in his. No, he repeated more gently, coughing until he could scarcely breathe. Other hands. Touch it. Light fails. So he's saying, so that's like saying, if she uses my website, she doesn't have a hacker would have access to it because somebody else, she doesn't know about IT enough to get the person off of her. Wow, incredible. Right there. It's saying that Palm Bees has a hacker. Get off her! Shivering involuntarily, Chrysania cast a swift glance around the room. Raistlin, seeing her, and seeing the shimmering shapes hovering just outside the light of the staff, shook his head. No, I do not believe they would attack us, he said softly, as Chrysania put her arms around him and helped him to rise. They know who I am. His lip curled in a sneer at this, and he choked. Choking would represent they want to put out his heir, or they want to stop him from getting married. They know who I am, he repeated more firmly. and they dare not cross me. But, he coughed again, and leaned heavily upon Chrysania, one arm around her shoulder, the other hand clutching the staff. It will be safer to keep the light of the staff burning. So, right there, it's suggesting that I layer what I'm sharing a bit more somewhere. Interesting. The mage staggered as he spoke and nearly fell. Well, I mean, yeah, it's like so unprofessional right now, or like just suddenly starts with like, oh my God, I need help. I witnessed something. It's good. It's kind of crazy. But, you know, I'm still working on it. The mage staggered as he spoke and nearly fell. Chrysania paused to let him catch his breath. Her own breath was coming more rapidly than normal, revealing the confused tangle of her emotions. Hearing the harsh rattle of Raceland's labored breathing, she was consumed with pity for his weakness. Yet she could feel the burning heat of his body pressed so near hers. There was an intoxicating scent of his spell components, rose petals, spice, and his black robes were soft to the touch, softer than the curtain around her shoulders. His gaze met hers as they stood there for a moment. The mirror-like surface of his eyes cracked, and she saw warmth and passion. Softer than the curtain around her shoulders. That might mean like her lineup. Maybe. That will create his arm around her tightened reflexively, drawing her closer without seeming to mean to do so. So it's to teach people to compliment others to win instead of compete, and teach people that we're not objects. It's the letter Q. It's the more civilized. It's supposed to teach the kids to be more civilized. Chrysania flushed, wanting desperately to both run away and stay forever in that warm embrace. Quickly, she lowered her gaze, but it was too late. She felt Raceland stiffen. Angrily, he withdrew his arm. Pushing her aside, he gripped his staff for support. But he was still too weak. He staggered and started to fall. Chrysania moved to help him, but suddenly a huge body interposed itself between her and the mage. Strong arms caught Raceland up as if he were no more than a child. Caramon carried his brother to the frayed and blackened, heavy cushioned chair he had dragged near the fire. Heavily cushioned chair he dragged near the fire. For a few moments, Chrysania could not move from where she stood, leaning up against the desk. It was only when she realized that she was alone in the darkness, outside the light of both the fire and staff, that she walked hurriedly over near the fire herself. Wait, what? It was only when she realized that she was alone in the darkness, outside the light of both the fire and the staff, that she walk hurriedly over near the fire herself. That's saying that she doesn't realize how much money everything is worth that I share until she goes without it. Sit down, Lady Chrysania, said Caramon, drawing up another chair and beating the dust and ash off with his hands as best he could. Thank you, she murmured, trying for some reason to avoid the big man's gaze. Sinking down into the chair, she huddled near the blaze, staring fixedly into the flames until she felt she had regained some of her composure. When she was able to look around, she saw Raistlin lying back in his chair, his eyes closed, his breathing ragged. Let's see, when she was able to look around, she saw Raistlin lying back in his chair. So it's saying when she's able to see things clearly, what I'm depending on has been trying to take away my marriage because of the word chair. It's letter C is taking, and then the letter H is tying the knot, and then air is the reward, air element. Kind of his breathing ragged. Caramon was heating water in a battered iron pot that he had dragged, from the looks of it, out of the ashes of the fireplace. What the heck? What does that mean? How could my brother make money from the people she's already met? He's a computer tech. I don't know. Actually, don't know what he does for work. It's a computer tech, though. He stood before it, staring intently into the water. The firelight glistened on his golden armor, glowed on his skin, his smooth tan skin. I mean, she may be so hacked that she's not even able to get her PayPal messages. That's really messed up. I have to let everybody know. Maybe everybody in Portland's gonna know before she does. Well, one day at a time. The firelight glistened on the golden armor. Or she could just send me away. All she has to do is just let me know. I know what I did to you. No, she needs to know. She needs to know what she did. It's so romantic. The firelight glistened on his golden armor, glowed on his smooth tan skin. His muscles rippled as he flexed his great arms to keep warm. He is truly a magnificently built man, Chrysania thought, then shuddered. Once again, she could see him entering that room beneath the doomed temple. The bloody sword in his hand, death in his eyes. So, the sword has represented a relationship, like an ex-girlfriend or an ex-boyfriend. So he is truly a magnificently built man, Chrysania thought, then shuddered. Once again, she could see him entering that room beneath the doomed temple, the bloody sword in his hand, death in his eyes. He's kind of let himself go, being behind the computer a lot lately, probably. He got married, so just like in the story, he met her. So Tika Whalen, he met her on the landline, and she was ready to get married, and they got married right away. And that's why she has red hair. And then, so, the water's ready, Caramon announced, and Chrysania returned to the tower with a start. Let me fix the potion, she said quickly, thankful for something to do. Raistlin opened his eyes, and she came near him. Looking into them, she saw only a reflection of herself, pale, wan, disheveled. Wordlessly, he held out a small velvet pouch, and she took it. He gestured to his brother, then sank back, exhausted. Taking the pouch, Chrysania turned to find Caramon watching her, a look of mingled perplexity and sadness giving his face an unaccustomed gravity. It's because of the velvet rope. A club where the killing jar is found has been called the killing jar because the Susie and the Banshees song, The Killing Jar. It's not really a killing jar. It's not supposed to be. But it's not the safest thing to be poly or whatever. People, because of sharing gravity, people might time themselves that mess up other people. On accident, things could happen. So there's a bar there though where married couples get together. They put their keys in the jar, and then they go home with somebody else. And that's called the velvet rope, I think. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe that's just something I heard about. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Because this was like a really long time ago, almost 20 years ago. A dozen years ago, I guess, my dad was living at Francis Court. That's how Kurt Cobain named his daughter Frances. It's because the way my dad handled busting me smoke heroin. He guilt trip gifted me, and I got off it like I promised that weekend. So it seems like, he named his daughter Frances because preferring that way. It does work better than all the other ways. For me anyways. I think I'll be an expert guilt trip gifter when I have more money and power. Anyways. Taking the pouch, Chrysania turned to find Caramon watching her, a look of mingled perplexity and sadness giving his face an unaccustomed gravity. But all he said was, "Put a few of the leaves in this cup, then fill it with the hot water." So recently I got off Suboxone for a whole year. But I had to get back on it because it was too much of a shock to my system doing it right away like that. I should have just done it gradually because of the poop. Okay. So hold on, I was going too fast. He is truly a magnificently built man, Chrysania thought, then shuddered. Once again, he could see him entering the blah, blah, blah. The water is ready, Caramon announced. Then Chrysania returned to the tower with a start. Okay, so water has represented teas. So what is he saying there? The water's ready. And then Chrysania returned to the tower with a start. The tower has represented drugs. Or, right now they're in the Tower of High Sorcery in Palanthas, which has been represented Seattle area. And so right now it represents being in the Portland area on drugs. But I'm not on drugs. Hopefully she's not. Actually, I am on Suboxone. The water's ready, Caramon announced, and Crysania returned to the tower with a start. Let me fix the potion, she said quickly, thankful for something to do. Uh-oh. That's like alarming me that she may be open to experimenting with things. That's not good. Hopefully not. Raceland opened his eyes as she came near him. So my friend Nate, who was on the Grimes album Dark Bloom. He was into that dark blow stuff from the dark side of the web. That weird, he was always getting like illegal dust. It's weird stuff. But he's on that album cover of the Grimes album Dark Bloom. He died though. It was sad. But so the Draconian that was dead in the beginning, when the companions are on their way to Prayer's Eye Peak, they're supposed to go to Heaven or Haven, but instead they went to Prayer's Eye Peak because of Solace being like Utah, and the Mormons, the Mormons go to heaven. They're the ones who get married and have kids and stuff. But my mom was a flight attendant, so the companions ended up running into the Draconians, and there was an injured one among them. So the Draconians have represented like immigrants, illegal immigrants, and then the one injured among them represented possibly knowing too much. For my friend that died, I'd say it was a possibility, but not really though. He probably just died from killing himself on accident, but that was a scary thing though. But yeah, I mean, people die, drugs are stupid, but yeah, he did, because he spoke Spanish, so he did know too much probably. But anyways, why was I talking about him? Oh, because let me fix the potion, she said quickly, thankful for something to do. Raceland opened his eyes as she came near him. Don't want her to do anything. Looking into them, she saw only the reflection of herself, pale, wan, disheveled. Wordlessly, he held out a small velvet pouch, and she took it, gestured to his brother, then sank back exhausted. So this is where I thought of the black velvet rope thing, or the velvet rope, that sacred club where the married couples, it's like a poly club. And so, taking the pouch, Crysania turned to find Caramon watching her, a look of mingled perplexity and sadness giving his face an unaccustomed gravity. Get it? Because of the velvet rope club. Because she just got a velvet pouch. But all he said was, is she going to put anything in it? Put a few of the leaves in this cup, then fill it with the hot water. Get it? Put leaves in the cup. Like, don't put the keys in the cup. Then fill it with hot water. But you should be hot and tease them. What is it? Crysania asked curiously, opening the pouch, her nose wrinkled at the strange, bitter scent of the herbs. Now, bitter is the taste of poison. So, and then Caramon poured the water into the cup she held. I don't know, he said, shrugging. Race always gathered the herbs and mixed them himself. Parsalian gave the recipe to him after the test. When he was so sick, I know, he smiled at her. It smells awful and must taste worse. His glance went almost fondly to his brother. But it will help him. His voice grated harshly. Abruptly, he turned away. It's funny how, like, the authors seem to have the ability to respond to all the readers and everything in this miraculous way. What makes that possible? You know, like the speed of light or something? It's very magical. But what's really cool is how it's like she gives the task to my brother, of course, because he's the one that should be the one preparing my drugs. If I'm going to take anything, it should come from my brother. That means it's going to be legal. It's going to be from a doctor. If that makes sense. It's really funny that he always gets when he gets his tea, it always comes from his brother. How cool, though, is that? Pretty interesting. Sorry. Just trying to plug something in. Sorry. Die here. Okay, so Chrysania carried the steaming potion to Raistlin, who clutched at it with trembling hands and eagerly brought the cup to his lips. Sipping at it, he breathed a sigh of relief and once more sank back among the cushions of the chair. Of course, it's pretty easy to just use addition to something, you know, and just measure the synchronicity and trip out that way. Pretty fun. Pretty funny. But it is definitely, you know, effective enough to give the readers a very enjoyable wow, you know, awakening of, wow, that's actually true. Wyoming is over there. That is where this party starts. An awkward silence fell. Caramon was staring down at the fire once more. Raistlin, too, looked into the flames and drank his potion without comment. Chrysania returned to her own chair to do what each of the others must be doing, she realized, trying to sort out thoughts, trying to make some sense of what had happened. I think what's really funny is the Forgotten Realms. I forgot what it was about. Forgotten Realms. What? That's so weird. It's so cool. I think they're gonna have quite the. It's gonna be a really cool pre-death funeral or whatever the author will have. Hopefully, it'll be a really spiritual experience for them. Hours ago, she had been standing in a doomed city. I mean, it's been preparing for this. I mean, it's difficult to measure where it started. Hours ago, she had been standing in a doomed city, a city destined to die by the wrath of the gods. She had been on the verge of complete mental and physical collapse. She could admit this now, though she could not have them. Though she could not have them. Have then? What? That doesn't even make sense. Hours ago, hold on. I suddenly got like really hyped. I'm going dancing, so I took a full dose. I usually don't do a full dose. An awkward silence fell. Caramon was staring down at the fire once more. Raceland, too, looked into the flames and drank his potion without comment. Chrysania returned to her own chair to do what each of the others must be doing, she realized, trying to sort out thoughts, trying to make some sense of what had happened. Hours ago, she had been standing in a doomed city, a city destined to die by the wrath of the gods. She had been on the verge of complete mental and physical collapse. She could admit this now, though she could not have them. She could not have them. She could admit this now, though she could not have them. That's obviously a typo. It's always meaningful, though. What the hell? Let me say that again. Hours ago, she had been standing in a doomed city, a city destined to die by the wrath of the gods. She had been on the verge of complete mental and physical collapse. She could admit this now, though she could not have then. Them? What is it, them? Is it supposed to be them? It's at the bottom. It's a typo, I guess. She could admit this now, though she could not have then. What does that mean? It means she shouldn't make a threat that something bad will happen if she doesn't get what she wants. Though she could not have then, because that was before the cataclysm came. Weird. How fondly she had imagined her soul to be girded round by the steel walls of her faith. Not steel, she saw now, with shame and regret. Not steel, but ice. Not steel, but ice. So steel has represented past relationship. Steel has also represented in my dreams where our relationship in the future could have been troubled. I was thankful that there was a certain mattress place where it was located. It was very like, oh, what a relief. What a weird trip. But yeah, it was like the way everything was. It was like if you had this agreement here, then it could be the strongest marriage ever. And just like it was really helpful. But steel because of my ex-girlfriends, Kat and Anna. Together it's Katana. And then, so the letter N means loving. If you take away the letter N, then it's Katana. And then, yeah. And so Dritz has 2 scimitars. Those scimitars. It's funny words because it's like less likely to have an STD because they are scimitars. Because of the letter S is measuring what enters a body, and the letter C is taking. The camel. Get it? That's really funny. Okay. Stupid. Okay. Not steal, she saw now, with shame and regret. Wait, hold on, let me go back. So she could not have then, how fondly she had imagined her soul. So her soul would represent like what's left behind in her stuff and pictures and photos and videos and everything. To be girded, photos and videos. To be girded round by the steel walls of her faith. So steel walls. Steel would also mean like metal too, maybe. No. So you imagine her soul to be girded. Girded means like gold, putting gold, decorating it. Her soul to be girded round by the steel walls of her faith. She imagined her soul to be girded round by the steel walls of her faith. Not steel, she saw now, with shame and regret. Really? Not steel, but ice? The ice had melted in the harsh light of truth. Weird. So it's like saying, accepting. Hopefully that's real. Not steel, but ice. That'd be nice. Accepting me now. The ice had melted in the harsh light of truth, leaving her exposed and vulnerable. It's like describing being famous without money. If it had not been for Raistlin, she would have perished back there in Istar. That would mean a star, a celebrity, or was in love with her or something like that, and she didn't want it, I guess. Raistlin, her face flushed. This was something else she had never thought to contend with. Love, passion. She had been betrothed to a young man years ago, and she had been quite fond of him. But she had not loved him. She had, in fact, never really believed in love. The kind of love that existed in tales told to children. To be that wrapped up in another person seemed a handicap. No. A weakness to be avoided. She remembered something Tanis Half-Elven had said about his wife, Lorana. What was it? When she is gone, it is like I'm missing my right arm. Tanis. Wow, that's so romantic. Bring up Tanis Half-Elven, because Tanis has represented the person other people wanted me to be. Kind of. She remembered something about Tanis Half-Elven had said about his wife, Laurana. Wife? Yeah, right. What was it? When she is gone, it is like I'm missing my right arm. Wow. So, that's true, because my left arm goes to the person that I connect with. My right arm, because I'm the male, my right arm will go to hooking up my friend, Laurana, with a different guy. That's really interesting. So, the letter Q. Find her a lineup of men. Hot men. What romantic twaddle, she had thought at the time. But she asked herself, did she feel that way about Raistlin? Her thoughts went to the last day in Istar, the terrible storm, the flashing of the lightning. That's like saying all the terrible stuff other people came up with and shared with her, trying to turn her off of me. And then flashing of the lightning, like sharing embarrassing pictures of me. Or maybe like what I was doing or something. And how she had suddenly found herself in Raistlin's arms. Her heart contracted with the swift ache of desire she felt once again. So heart, though, the heart has in one of the paintings you see Raistlin showing her the heart, is because it suddenly became a bird's bottom. Potentially. It's not always a beating heart right there. When she is... Okay, so wait, what? Her heart contracted with the swift ache of desire as she felt, once again, his strong embrace. His strong embrace that's warning me because of my race? Because she was used? Because the people that hired her was a one-true king or whatever? It's all racist. Because I checked out goth music? That's so stupid. But there was also a sharp fear, a strange revulsion. Unwillingly, she remembered the feverish gleam in his eyes. His exultation in the storm, as if he himself had called it down. That's like saying she thought that I was doing a lot more than I actually did. She thought I was doing all this stuff to her, or getting other people to do stuff to her. That's messed up. No, it was never me. It was like the strange smell of the spell components that clung to him. The pleasant smell of roses and spice, but mingled with it, the cloying odor of decaying creatures, the acrid smell of sulfur. What that means is he doesn't actually stink. Get it? Even as her body longed for his touch, something in her soul shrank away in horror. Caramon's stomach rumbled loudly. The sound in the deathly still chamber was startling. Looking up, her thoughts shattered. Crysania saw the big man blush deeply in embarrassment. Suddenly reminded of her own hunger, she couldn't remember the last time that she had been able to choke down a mouthful of food. That she'd been able to choke down a mouthful of food? Oh, I get it. What that means is she can't remember the last time she's been able to eat food without the concerns that would come from wanting to get married to me, which would be going to court and a very powerful, rich person wanting her dead before she goes to trial, before she goes to sit on the bench or whatever and tell the truth. That's scary. That's true, though. Actually, I don't know if that's true. Hopefully it's true. She couldn't remember the last time she had been able to choke down a mouthful of food. Get it, though? Because choking, you don't get air. Crysania began to laugh. Yeah, it's pretty exciting, huh? Pretty exciting, pretty cool. Pretty cool to see, to read this book and know that they're, trying to help us bring justice. Or see justice. Like, even to the point of Superman. It's so crazy. Something like Superman, it makes sense because Superman started with the Daily Star before it was a Daily Planet. And he was, when they were coming up with Superman, he started out as like a homeless person. And so she's Lois Lane because of the street names. It's so weird. But it makes sense though, because that's where it's like Clark Kent with the glasses and everything. It's like reminding me to not have the goth look or whatever when I'm doing the news from the host would be the Daily Planet. If you synchronize that, if I compared that to me, that's pretty cool. So it's like suggesting that I because it's true that it would be what I'm working on would be the most help for like the rest of the world or whatever, in a way that helps everybody, like everybody. It should be. Caramon looked at her dubiously, perhaps thinking her hysterical. At the puzzled look on the big man's face, Crysania only laughed harder. It felt good to laugh, in fact. The darkness in the room seemed pushed back. The shadows lifted from her soul. Yeah. She laughed merrily, and finally, caught by the infectious nature of her mirth, Caramon began to laugh too, though he still shook his head, his face red. Thus do the gods remind us we're human, Crysania said, when she could speak, wiping her tears from her eyes. Here we are, in the most horrible place imaginable, surrounded by creatures waiting eagerly to devour us whole, and all I can think of right now is how desperately hungry I am. We need food, said Caramon soberly, suddenly serious, and decent clothing. If we're going to be here long. He looked at his brother. How long are we going to be here for? Or how long are we going to be here? Not long, Rosalind replied. He had finished the potion, and his voice was already stronger. Get it? Because they're in the Tower of High Sorcery. Not long, Rosalind replied. He had finished the potion, and his voice was already stronger. I need to clip my toenails before I go dancing. Seriously. Hope you don't mind, then. Is that really annoying to hear the noise? Toenail clipping. Okay. Anyways, where am I? Okay. Not long, blah, 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 blah. Not long, Rassilon replied. He had finished the potion, and his voice was already stronger. Some color had returned to his pale face. I need time to rest. Oh, good. I was going to freak out. It wasn't there. Let's do this so bad. It just really bothers me. Oh, gosh. Just need this off. Sorry. Ah, yes. How did I forget to do that? Oh. Jeez. I'm so gross right now. I'm not gross, though. I'm actually very clean. Ew. I seriously let these go, though. I'm usually way hotter, though. It's been seriously raining nonstop. It has really been a drag. But, I'm very clean, though. Very clean. I'm working really hard. The book certainly helps. The story is really good. It's so exciting. Ridiculously exciting. Reading this book is like, wow. Like, how could it be so wonderful? It's so magical. It feels impossible. It feels like I'm witnessing something impossible constantly. Very cool. But it's not impossible. In fact, anybody could do that. Just use addition. Especially when you break it down to the origins of letters, because when you use the origins of letters, they become verbs, and they are no longer pronouns. And so a person won't be wrong when they say that everybody's name, has a meaning and has to do with what's going on. That's weird. But it will be a spiritual experience for people that are doing pre-death funerals or whatever. The challenge is finding the most embarrassing definition of your name and bringing the best experience to somebody else when they attempt to find theirs. So, anyways, where was I? Clipping my nails. Oh, it feels so much better. I can't stand that. Okay. Raceland. Her face flushed. This was something else she had never thought to contend with. Oh, that was so nasty. I'm so sorry I brought that up. It was like such a cool moment, and then it was ruined by toenails. Okay. Raceland, her face flushed. This was something else she had never thought to contend with. Love, passion. She had been betrothed to a young man years ago. She had been quite fond of him. It's so sad that we should have been seriously going out and hanging out in LA. She would have had so much more fun. Like, I seriously, There was like a party every... there's constantly like a party going on. There's constantly like, the clubs and stuff going on. How the hell is it possible that how the hell is it possible that happened? I should have did more to contact stars and stuff. I mean, all I was, I don't know. I think I wasted too much time with letters and stuff, I should have did more on the phone and emails and stuff. I wasn't even like trying. I was just being stupid, preparing for like worst case scenarios too much. Well, sorry, I have to do this. I can't. Don't answer me. Okay, I'm going to get the coolest place. Once, what is it? A week comes by. I guess I'll be looking in a week. Just a week. I need to get more help. I'm working hard. Okay, so I'm so upset. I mean, I really have to start with YouTube. YouTube is one of the things I really have to start with, because that's just seriously messed up. I mean, when Edward Caspell did his album Permission to Leave the Temple, it seemed like other people were like, oh, here's our opportunity. Messed up. Anyways. So, where was I? Laughing about Tanis Half-Elven and the thing. Okay. What romantic twaddle she had thought at the time, but now she asked herself, did she feel that way about Raistlin? Her thoughts went to the last day of Istar, the terrible storm, the flashing of the blah, 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 blah. What am I talking about? Where was I? Wait, hold on, I'm sorry, I lost my place. Not long, she replied. Okay, here it is. And how long are we going to be here? Not long, Raistlin replied. He had finished the potion, and his voice was already stronger. Some color had returned to his pale face. I need time to rest, to recover my strength, and to complete my studies. This lady, his glittering gaze went to Cressania, and she shivered at the sudden impersonal tone in his voice. Needs to commune with her God and renew her faith. Hello. Welcome. Then we will be ready to enter the portal. At which time Then we will be ready to enter the portal, at which time, my brother, you may go there, you may go where you will. Cressania felt Caramon's questioning glance, but she kept her face smooth and expressionless, though Raistlin's cool, casual mention of entering the dread portal, of going into the abyss and facing the Queen of Darkness froze her heart. So that abyss has represented Twitch, streaming, gaming, and facing the Dark Queen of Krynn, which would be Fort Girl cosplay, would represent basically playing games and becoming the best streamer, the best video game player. And so that's why Caramon talked Raistlin out of it, because it destroys the world. It destroyed the world because he saw the future. If he battles with the Dark Queen or whatever. What is that going on back there? Okay, anyways. Okay, so okay, it's like there's something going on here. There's a lot of stuff going on here, but I might as well go back to my book. So his glittering gaze went to Crysania, and he shifted as she shivered at the sudden impersonal tone in his voice. Needs to be commune with her God and renew her faith. This lady needs to commune with her God and renew her faith. That's really cool to think of the way I want to do it. To find her largest echo, the largest echo coming from the future, if she wants to live again or whatever. And then trace the family tree of her own tree and the tree that she joins with. That would be going back and returning to those locations to try to come up with the A-rated stories or whatever. To come up with, to think about them in those locations to try to be more helpful to the previous lives that we had. It's a very cool plan. There's a painting with Crysania and Raistlin and trees behind them. It's so beautiful. This lady needs to commune with her God and renew her faith. Then we will be ready to enter the portal. We'll be ready to stream together. At which time, my brother, you may go where you will. Crysania felt Caramon's questioning glance, but she kept her face smooth and expressionless, though Raistlin's cool, casual mention of entering the dread portal, of going into the abyss and facing the Queen of Darkness froze his heart. She refused to meet Caramon's eyes, therefore, and stared into the fire. Wait, what is it saying right there? So Crysania felt Caramon's questioning glance. Whether or not to play video games. But she kept her face smooth and expressionless. Though casual mentioning of entering the dread portal, of going into the abyss and facing the Queen of Darkness froze her heart. She stops having sex. She refused to meet Caramon's eyes, therefore, and stared into the fire. Stared into the passion. The big man sighed. He's also addicted to the video games too much. Then cleared his throat. Will you send me home? He asked his twin. If that is where you wish to go. Yes, Caramon said, his voice deep and stern. I want to go back to Tika and to talk to Tanis. The person I'm supposed to become. Raistlin, kind of. His voice broke. I'll have to explain somehow about Tas dying back there in Istar. Tas dying? Oh yeah, they left him. They left Tasselhoff barefoot with the cataclysm coming. The sky was raining fire. It was the last time we saw him, huh? Wonder what happened. Wonder what's going to happen to Tasselhoff. In the name of the gods, Caramon, Raistlin snapped, making an irritable motion with his slender hand. I thought we had seen some glimmer of an adult lurking in that hulking body of yours. You will undoubtedly return to find Tasselhoff sitting in your kitchen. regaling Tika with one stupid story after another, having robbed you blind in the meantime. So wait. Tass dying, though. That's actually true. And I've actually had that concern right now about my friend Tasselhoff because of this being so heavy, you know what I mean? And telling her about all this stuff that's going on that's so heavy. It's like, oh my God, what if somebody killed her? Because of, like, you know, being so curious. That's scary to think. And according to my dream, wow, that's sick. Anyways, in the name of the gods, Caramon, Raistlin snapped, making an irritable motion with his slender hand. It's because she was telling me about somebody who died and stuff like that, and how it could have been somebody killed. And I don't know, it's kind of scary. But I mean, we should do something. We need to do something about it. I definitely am on my end, and she's like kind of living out there in the middle of nowhere. But, you know, I'm having to check. I have to check in like every day. Back there in Istar. So it'd be basically it'd be warning me that somebody would be using somebody hacked, because of back there in Istar. Istar would be like a star or something, so it'd be warning me about somebody trying to use, like, you know, hacking accounts or something like that. That's messed up if somebody actually killed her friend's husband that she told me about. That's scary. Anyways, in the name of the gods, Caramon, Raistlin snapped, making an irritable motion with his slender hand. I thought we had seen some glimmer of an adult lurking in that hulking body of yours. You will undoubtedly return to find Tasselhoff sitting in your kitchen. Oh, wait, I already read this. What? Caramon's face grew pale, his eyes widened. Listen to me, my brother, Raistlin hissed, pointing a finger at Caramon. The Kender doomed himself when he disrupted Par-Salian's spell. Listen to me, my brother, Raistlin hissed, pointing a finger at Caramon. The Kender doomed himself when he disrupted Par-Salian's spell. Okay, so hold on. So, Caramon's face grew pale, his eyes widened. Right. I told my brother about it. Listen to me, my brother. We'll see on the cover here, it's showing Sean O'Siren looking like my brother. So it's like somebody's trying to make us out look like we're Nazis, but they're not Nazis. Pretty evil. But anyways, so, in the name of the gods, Caramon, Raistlin snapped, making an irritable motion with his slender hand. I thought we had seen some glimmer of an adult lurking in that hulking body of yours. You will undoubtedly return to Tasselhoff sitting in your... I already read this. Listen to me, my brother, Raistlin hissed, pointing a finger at Caramon. The Kender doomed himself when he disrupted Parsalian's spell. So, Parsalian is somebody... so Parkinson's disease, if it was caused by, like, somebody putting something in somebody's food or something like that, Parkinson's, and then it's not like a hole-in-one or whatever, is like the part of the dream, the warning that's found in that name, because the letter S is measuring what enters the body, letter A is carrying, and then letter L is working, the letter I is balancing, measuring, and the letter A is cared, and then the letter N is eating or drinking. So Parsalian is like, means somebody cares what you're dreaming about and wants to stop it, basically, something like that. And then so the Kender doomed himself. So it's like saying she became in more danger from getting involved with me. That's messed up. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing right now, to protect us. Every single day, I have to do a lot more than I've done the previous day. I let a whole year go by wasting time with letters and stuff. I've got to do a lot more. I got to actually hold events. I should get paid, though, to do it. You know? I should get paid while I'm doing it. There is a very good reason for the prohibition against those of his race and the races of dwarves and gnomes traveling back in time. So, the Kender would represent people on opiates. So there is a very good reason for the prohibition against those of his race and the races of dwarves. Dwarves would represent people that are addicts. They always want to use something to grow taller. And the races of dwarves and gnomes traveling back in time. Gnomes have represented people on meth. They talk while listening. Since they were created by accident through a quirk of fate and the gods. Reorcs is carelessness. These races are not within the flow of time, as are humans. Elves and ogres, those races first created by the gods. Thus, the Kender could have altered time, and he was quick to realize when I inadvertently let slip that fact. I could not allow that to happen. Had he stopped the cataclysm as he intended, who knows what might have occurred? Perhaps we might have returned to our own time to find the Queen of Darkness reigning supreme and unchallenged, since the cataclysm was sent, in part to prepare the world to face her coming and give it the strength to defy her. Now that was really weird to try to understand that. What? Thus the Kender could have altered time, and he was quick to realize that I inadvertently let slip that fact. I could not alter that to happen. He had stopped the cataclysm. Had he stopped the cataclysm as he intended? So stopping the cataclysm, what would that symbolize? So if the Queen of Darkness reigns supreme and unchallenged, what does that even mean? It means that she can just stay ignorant. She just never grows up and just keeps playing video games. Wait, this is really hard to understand, this part. Perhaps we might have returned to our own time to find the Queen of Darkness reigning supreme and unchallenged, since the cataclysm was sent in part to prepare the world to face her coming and give it the strength to defy her. I get it. So it means wake up people to real danger being there on the computer, rather than pretending that it's always safe. So you murder him, Caramon interrupted hoarsely. Hoarsely. I told him to get the device. Raceland bit the words. I taught him how to use it, and I sent him home. Wow. The fuck? Yikes, yikes, yikes. Weird. It's scary, like, streaming. It's scary streaming, kind of. You know? Because it's so intense. Comparing all this to myself. It's so weird. Okay, Raceland sighed and laid his head back into the cushions of the chair. That means sighed and laid back into remembering the dreams of the wife and kids in my dreams that are supposed to be there in my future. But it's a chair, so it's somebody trying to take it from me. And it's cushioned. Gross. I did, but I didn't expect you to believe me, my brother. His hand plucked feebly at the black robes he wore. Why should you, after all? You know, said Chrysania softly, I seem to remember, in those last horrible moments before the earthquake struck, seeing Tasselhoff. He was with me in the sacred chamber. She saw Raceland open his eyes a slit. His glittering gaze pierced his heart and startled her. Pierced her heart and startled her? His glittering gaze pierced her heart and startled her. Distracting her thoughts for a moment. That means that what he saw made her lover feel betrayed. What I saw made Palmbean's lover feel betrayed. Go on, Caramon urged. I remember. He had the magical device. At least I think he did. How sick is it that somebody could have intentionally, trying to kill me, made sure to layer and block her between me and everything between me and her, to try to make sure that she was with someone else, and try to even push her into doing something like child, so that I would be violating and totally inappropriate, because she came to me in my dreams as pregnant once, and I had dreams, like many dreams, of her being my wife and being the mother of my children. How messed up would that be if somebody actually did that? Just thought it was funny. Oh, let's just mess up Americans. Let's make another Michael Jackson. Ha ha, this is so funny. That's really gross. And because of something like that, I can't let it rest. All of Portland has to know by letters if they're not going to acknowledge on the phone and the computer. But I mean, what the hell? My friend is a reporter here, very close to. But, I remember he had a magical device. At least I think he did. I mean, something's about to happen. He said something about it. Chrisania put her hand to her forehead, but I can't think what it was. It's all so dreadful and confused, but I'm certain he said he had the device. I'm mostly pissed off at the Mormon thing and how they wanted to do, and how they, wanted to keep things secret or whatever. It fucking pisses me off. Totally stupid thing to do. Because more people knowing is safer. More people knowing things is just safer. It's just really stupid to be like, oh yeah, only certain people should know. Yeah. But I mean, with some things, sure, of course. But I mean, not to the extreme that, I can't even have a YouTube channel. I have to sue. Surely you will believe Lady Chrisania, my brother. A Clerica Paladine will not lie. Really? Yeah, right. That's like so ironic right there. That's totally like an ironic joke. Get it? A Clerica Paladine will not lie. It's like saying that she's completely dishonest. Because of Paladine. I remember he had the magical device. At least I think he did. He had something about it. Chrisania put her hand to her forehead. But I can't think what it was. It's all so dreadful and confused. But I'm certain he said he had the device. Raceland smiled slightly. Surely you will believe Lady Chrisania, my brother. He shrugged. A Clerica Paladine will not lie. Hold on, it's so complicated. Okay. The way I'm reading this. I remember he had the magical device. At least I think he did. He said something about it. Chrisania put her hand to her. But I can't think what it was. It's all so dreadful and confusing. So he had the device, okay. So Tasselhoff's home right now, Caramon said, trying to assimilate this startling information. And when I go back, I'll find him. Safe and sound and loaded down with most of your personal possessions, Raceland finished wryly. I have to do a lot more to reach out to the authors that made this book right now because of the dreams I've had and stuff like that, of how betrayed and insulted they feel from being blocked or not being notified that they did this for me. Because it is absolutely magical. It is definitely trying to help me, go to court and survive and absolutely get justice for this one true king crap that happened to me. It's absolutely, I've been racially singled out. I don't really know everything. I don't really know. But I mean, it all started with witnessing Charles Manson being killed. You know, I should have stood up a long time ago. I should have let people know. But now we must turn our attention to more pressing matters. You're right, my brother. We need food and warm clothing, and we are not likely to find either here. The time we have come forward to is about 100 years after the cataclysm. This tower, he waved his hand, that represent drugs. Waving his hand like it's in the past, has been deserted all those years. It is now guarded by the creatures of darkness called forth by the curse of the magic users, whose body is still impaled upon the spikes of the gates below us. That was Kurt Cobain. That represents Kurt Cobain because he lived in the Seattle area, which is a Plantis area, and he killed himself. The Shoikan Grove. The Shoikan Grove has grown up around it, and there are none on Krynn who dare enter. So the Tower of High Sorcery that they're in right now is surrounded by a grove that's really scary, and it guards it because it's so scary. It's called the Shoikan Grove. And there's a curse that guards the tower that happened from a wizard impaling himself, killing himself on the fence. And so that has been, according to our dreams and stuff, like Kurt Cobain. So, none except myself, of course. No one can get inside, but the guardians will not prevent one of us. You, my brother, for example, from leaving. You will go into Planthus and buy food and clothing. I will produce it with my magic, but I dare not expand any unnecessary energy between now and when that is Crysania and I, enter the portal. So what time period are they in? Karaman's eyes widened. His gaze went to the soot-blackened window, his thoughts to the horrifying stories of the Shoikan Grove beyond. So right now, Karaman and Crysania are with Raistlin, who has a plan to have Crysania open up the portal so that he can face the Queen of Darkness, who's the goddess of everything evil, and defeat her, and then take her place as a god. And then his constellation would be found in the sky instead of hers. And my artist name is Spoon, which is a Big Dipper, or Ark of the Covenant. So it's very meaningful, it's very symbolic. It's definitely something I'd like to share at like a Comic-Con or something, because we should be able to do something like a demonstration and actually prove it to the people, prove it to the audience. Because I mean, since we lived once, it's only going to happen so many times for us. So we'll want to save it for like, you know, the important occasions. So like, we'll want to wait until like we're in front of a group of people or something before doing some of the demonstrations that actually prove that the authors really were trying to save us. And, you know, I'll go to court. Obviously, I need to do something. I need to be suing companies and stuff like that. And I'm filling out the paperwork now. I'm doing this now. And I'm, you know, letting everybody know about what happened to Palm Beach. It's absolutely awful. Obviously, somebody rich and powerful had this obsession with her, and I don't know. It's crazy, but using her to basically mess me up, obviously. I mean, what else can I say about that? Pretty messed up. None except myself, of course. No one can get inside. Okay, they're talking about the Shoaikan Grove. It surrounds the tower. There are none on Krynn who dare to enter the Shoaikan Grove. Huh. That means no one in America. So that would suggest that there's another country gathering information of Americans and threatening to share it. None except myself, of course. Who is he talking about? Okay, so no one can get inside. But the Guardians will not prevent one of us, you, my brother, for example, from leaving. You will go into Palanthas and buy food and clothing. I will produce it with my magic, but I dare not expend any unnecessary energy between now and when that is Crysania and I, enter the portal. They're going to stream together. Caramon's eyes widened. His gaze went to the soot-blackened window. I mean, that would be so cool to pay the other characters of the story to read. Like my sister, who would be Goldmoon. That would be so cool. And then Riverwind, it absolutely needs to save his life. I mean, he's like seriously in trouble. He needs to go like rehab or something. A dragon almost killed him with acid. And then the staff saved him. Means he was tripping and was probably going to die or something, or thought he was going to die, and he went on Facebook and it made him feel a lot better. That's weird. That was sad. But yeah, she destroyed her Facebook, just like in that story with the staff. And so she's working on the Discs of Mishakal now. Hopefully, right? That's what I wanted to do. It's so weird. So, what the fuck? Has anything like this ever been reported? Like, has anything like this ever happened before? What the hell? Such a weird coincidence. So cool. There's so much exposure to everything. Are we gonna be safe? Is it okay? Okay. So. I lost my mind. Okay. So. We're gonna enter the portal. Hopefully soon. Caramon's eyes widened. His gaze went to the soot-blackened window. His thoughts to the horrifying stories of the Shoaikan Grove beyond. My brother, of course, must have some embarrassing things he did. He doesn't want anybody to know about. Who cares? I will give you a charm to guard you, my brother. Raistlin added in exasperation, seeing the frightened look on Caramon's face. I mean, that's the reason he hasn't been helping me more. Too famous. Stupid. A charm will be necessary, in fact. That's pretty much the reason everybody's been chicken. A charm will be necessary, in fact, but not to aid your way through the grove. Chicken, get it? But a charm will be necessary, in fact, but not to aid your way through the grove. Why? What's the charm for, then? It is far more dangerous in here. Oh, I get it. Inside the tower, you mean? The Guardians obey me, but they hunger for your blood. Do not set foot outside this room without me. Remember that. You too, Lady Crysania. So he's basically saying, none of you should ever do drugs unless I'm around. Just kidding. Where is this? This portal? Caramon asked abruptly. I'm not going to do drugs then. In the laboratory. Sorry. In the laboratory above us, at the top of the tower. Okay. So, where is this? This portal? Caramon asked abruptly. In the laboratory above us, at the top of the tower. Raistlin replied. The portals were kept. That's like, I feel like the authors put that moment right there for me to remind whoever's watching that I don't know any. I wouldn't know anybody who deals or uses really. If they do, they probably wouldn't want to tell me. They probably would lie to me. That's pretty much behind me. So, anyways, according to the dreams and stuff I've had, the authors want me to share, and they want the world to know that they've done this for me, for us. It's very romantic, especially. Just wait till I share everything. It's seriously huge, especially Chrisania. She's gonna love it. I don't know about the heart that was pierced or whatever I'm talking about, whatever. But I mean, it's his own fault if he doesn't contact me and tell me what's going on. Anyways. But the guardians will not prevent one of us, you, my brother, for example, from leaving. You will go into Palanthas and buy food and clothes, blah, 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 blah. So where is this portal? Yeah, exactly. Where is the portal? I'll get a portal in like a week, okay? Like 2 weeks tops. In 2 weeks, I'll have a portal. I'm going to go enter the abyss. I'm going to fight the Queen of Darkness. I'm going to let Fork Girl know we're going to start doing this. I'm going to ask her to body paint herself as Takasis and read a chapter. It's pretty cool. Pretty interesting discovery. It's just, I don't know, what is it? It's not really a discovery. It's just funny coincidences. I don't know. But it's something they can make money from, you know? What's cool about it is because of living once, we could actually do like a miraculous demonstration kind of thing where in front of an audience or something, we could use something like dice and have like pick the paintings that people made or something like that, and have a random number, have people in the audience randomly select. Well, no, we would have to do it so it can't be rigged. Have a random way to select a color and a random way to select a number, and show that what we're coming across will prove. It'll match it and it'll synchronize to prove to everybody that it is there for us and it's trying to help us. Pretty cool. And hopefully there'll be no more list in America trying to, find a way to kill and loot people while framing them as something else. You will go into okay, blah, 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 blah. I already said that. So, where is this portal? Caramon asked abruptly. Yeah, my brother wants to know. Where is your place to live? I'll get one. In the laboratory, above us, at the top of the tower, Raistlin replied. The portals were kept in the most secure place the wizards could devise, but because, as you can imagine, they are extremely dangerous. Yes, monitors to computers are very dangerous. Televisions too. It's like wizards to go tampering with what they should best leave alone. Caramon growled. Why in the name of the gods did they create a gateway to the abyss? When I was starting to think like an animal. It's alive! Placing the tips of his fingers together, Raistlin stared into the fire, speaking to the flames, as if they were the only ones with the power to understand him. Okay, so hold on. Let me go back. I have to understand this. It's like wizards to go tampering with what they should best leave alone. Why, in the name of the gods, did they create a gateway to the abyss? That's like asking why did they create a port switch on a server for using the internet. Placing the tips of the fingers together, Raistlin stared into the fire. Placing the tips of his fingers together. That means that means he's being blocked, basically, because the tips of his fingers going together, his fingers are supposed to go to other people's hands. Raistlin stared into the fire, speaking to the flames, as if they were the only ones with the power to understand him. Okay, so right there, it's like saying, people aren't exactly able to see your stream right now, like other people. That's a very good way of wording it. Get it? Because this hand goes out to other people. This hand is receiving it, but it's not going to other people. In the hunger for knowledge, many things are created. Some are good, that benefit us all. A sword in your hands, Caramon, champions the cause of righteousness and truth and protects the innocent. A sword in his hands, Caramon champions the cause of righteousness and truth and protects the innocent. But a sword in the hands of, say, our beloved sister Kitiara would split the heads of the innocent wide open if it suited her. Is this the fault of the sword's creator? See, Kitiara has represented an illegal person, or an immigrant maybe, or something. And a letter N, Caramon began, but his twin ignored him. The letter N means loving, drinking, eating. They're starting with that letter because Kitiara stabbed Sturm with a spear, which could be like an asparagus. And the letter N is for the gut down here. So it's warning of that. Long ago, during the Age of Dreams, when magic users were respected and magic flourished upon Krynn, the 5 towers of high sorcery stood as beacons of light in the dark sea of ignorance that was this world. Here, great magics were worked, benefiting all. There were plans for greater still. Who knows but that now we might have been riding on the winds, soaring the skies like dragons, maybe even leaving this wretched world and inhabiting other worlds far away, far away. Oh, I have to go. It's seriously late. Oh, jeez, I can't believe how long it takes for me to... It's because of the way I'm reading it. Sorry. I'll start it again later. I have to go. I'm sorry. I seriously took too long. But I'll be back later. Check in like an hour.